Righty. What is cracking, my fellow individuals? Let me just get this up to a good place for you. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to hear what I'm saying in today's video. So, on the agenda for today, first things first, I'm going to tell you a quote that I heard from Naval Ravikant, and I thought it was fucking amazing. And it is in relation to denouncing your desires for the intensive purpose of feeling better about life, and I think that's a good thing. So, it goes like this. Not wanting things is as good as having them. Now, I think that's fucking amazing, and I'll tell you why. I think having a mindset of wanting less rather than more is wonderfully attractive when it comes to actually getting the things that you want. There's a reverse psychology that's funny in there, and I just wanted to start with that because I think it's a good place to start. But that's not what today's video is about. Today's video is about consistency building capacity. Now, I'm going to tell you before we go anywhere in this video, I am using my iPad because I've got some prompts in front of me because I want to get this good, but I want to say it in a way that so I'm not just reading the fucking prompt. So if I refer to this, then you know what I'm doing. So, first of all, we're going to talk about the false start of self-improvement. So, when you first start self-improvement, it feels like you should be able to do a lot of what it is that you're doing straight away. This idea is stemming from the sort of self-improvement diet that we find ourselves on whenever we decide to improve. We have a mass corpus of videos and public faces and just general impetus that is prompting us in the direction of wanting to be able to all of a sudden change our character, and with that, up our workload to the absolute maximum. You've seen the videos of just work harder, work hard for 5 years and you won't have to suffer for 50, all of this, that culture. When we first get into self-improvement, and even in many degrees after the start, we seem to take this on board with no sense of understanding of occasion. And what I mean by that is, when you first start something, you don't anticipate in any other arena to be able to just do it straight away. It's not something that you go, yeah, I'm going to start this incredibly difficult thing and I'm just going to get that ball rolling and all of a sudden I'm going to be able to do 6 hours of this, or I'm going to be able to do 300 pounds worth of lifting when I've never lifted a weight before. We don't do it for anything else, but we do it when it comes to our work output. So that's the foreground that I'm going with today. And the second point on that is the misinformation trap, which comes along with this. It's this initial idea that we have that the more work we're doing, the better we're doing. Now, I'm going to make the obvious point that you will immediately have resorted to as I've said that, and I'm going to get that out of the way. First of all, doing more work doesn't mean that you're doing better work. You might actually be kicking yourself in the teeth, because if you're doing so much work that you're tired, and as a result of that you need more rest, you're going to gradually be doing less work, and it's going to be less quality anyway, because to drop a bit of a Huberman gem in here for the sake of the point, your ability to work decreases after 90 minutes. You work in 90-minute cycles when it comes to your output. So by the end of 90 minutes, you're well off the trail of productivity anyway. So if you work for longer, doesn't mean that you're doing better. And I'm going to apply my own sentiment here to extend that point, and that is, if you work more, you have an opportunity cost. And that opportunity cost is, yeah, I might have done 6 hours of work today rather than 3, but I didn't go out with my friends, which is something I'm never going to be able to do at one point and is worth doing now. So there's an opportunity cost that is in play when it comes to the amount of work we're doing. So to continue with this point, so far we are in the realm of doing a lot of work isn't something you can be expected to do straight away, and it doesn't actually necessarily make the most difference for you to be able to do this. So the next point we've got, everyone says to just be consistent, but no one actually explains that consistency builds capacity. Now, what I mean by that is, the more consistent you are at doing something for a short period of time, the more capable you will be of doing it for a longer period of time. So, people assume that when you come into the profession of improvement, let's say, that you're going to be able to do a lot of work straight away, and they don't actually understand that it is micro level consistency that enables you the macro level of growth. So the first thing that I did when I started improvement was the self-improvement arc, the red pill, was I had a cold shower every day. And I've had that cold shower every day since. It's been about 3 years now. And that on its own is a tiny thing. But it enabled me, as a result of creating a habit, to create another habit, and another habit, and another habit, and another one. And that was the upgrade from consistency to capacity, which is another important part of this, because people, as I say, people don't recognise that, like building a muscle, it takes time to become capable and consistent. Consistency requires consistency, on a side point. Now, this is a very annoying point at the beginning of your growth, and at any time. I'm going to stop saying at the beginning, because this is essentially applicable across the board. You get annoyed with how much you can do and also how much you can't do. So there's quite a consistent theme that people will have, is they'll know that they should be doing more work, but then for whatever reason just feel like they can't. And this feeling is totally rational. You can't. You haven't yet increased your capacity to the point where you can bench the weight, the mental weight this is. I'm now going to take a sip of my Ribena that I've put in a wine glass so that I look more intellectual than I am. So, on that point, capacity is a muscle. Discipline, stamina, focus are all muscles. These are things that require our intensive effort in order to create. And unfortunately, this is the weak corner of plenty of our minds, is not being able to understand that this is the case, not being able to resign yourself to the fact that it doesn't actually matter that you can't yet do it the way you'd want to do it. You will be able to, so long as you continue doing it. And I'm going to add just separate notes into this as and when I think they're suitable. Oh, no, I'm not, because I just forgot what I was going to say there, my bad. Don't self-sabotage early is the next point that I've got on here. Not talking about burnout here. What I'm actually talking about is demoralisation. Now, when you start improvement, I'm pretty sure if you rewind that, I'll say that I wasn't going to say that again, so I've lied to you, but the rest of this video, I'm not lying. You'll get demoralised if you focus too much on how much you can do at any one point or another. It's important that you push yourself. Of course, you can't not push yourself if you're wanting to get from where you currently are to where you're looking to go. But you don't want to put yourself down thinking, fuck's sake, why can't I do the work that David Goggins does in the gym? Why can't I do what Andrew Tate is doing? How can Alex Hormozi do this, but I can't do this? Don't compare yourself to these people just yet. It's important that you compare yourself to who you were a month or two ago. And that's how you work around this. Don't demoralise yourself by looking too far forward on the point of your ability to work. So, a better metric that I have put forth for you, my good sirs and madams, is: did I show up today? Now, there is a bit of nuance here, because if you're saying, did I show up today, as in, did I improve today? This can be a benchmark set particularly low, and it can also be one that's set in an abstract manner. And I'm going to tell you why these two methods are going to be useful for you to put into play when it comes to your capacity. First of all, if you can do one small thing every single day, then over a period of time, you're going to be an absolute fucking mensch at that thing, without a doubt. Think about it this way, what I was going to say earlier when I forgot what I was going to say is, if you do something for long enough, you will become good at it. And that is absolutely the case when it comes to consistency and ability to work, is just do it for long enough, do some work for it all the time, as in every day, and you will gradually increase your ability to do what you're wanting to do. The premise of today's video, what I should have probably said at the start of this, of why I'm talking about this, is I, as someone who doesn't naturally have a particularly good work ethic, are now routinely putting in amounts of hours on a day where I couldn't actually tell you how much I'm doing. I sit down and I know I'm going to be here for a good while now. And to that end, I will look at time blocks of 3 hours and think, shit, that might not be enough time. So I have managed to get myself to a level where that's my reality now. And that's not to sound like a twat. That's to tell you that I have been able to change from someone who is rather sedentary on most things to pretty fucking solid on this. And the way that I have done that is through this. It's the showing up every single day. And that can also provide you with a significant amount of happiness that you would otherwise not have if you were to just look at it on the metric of how much work am I doing and why am I not doing more. If you can look and go, it's very important that I work hard. I'm never going to have a better time in my life to work hard than now. But you can also stay in touch with the fact you're never going to be as young as you are now, and you're never going to have as much freedom as you have now. The good way to do this, and the reason why you should do this, is because this is how you become happy. This is the most obvious way, is to work on something and also be in touch with the things. Then you're not too much on either side. This is not necessarily me evoking balance, because I don't think you can quite do that when you're striving forwards, but it provides you with enough of both. Anyway, if you can look at this of, you know what, I've got a really nice day with my friends today, and this is something I don't want to miss. Yeah, I should be doing more work today, but this is important, and I should make an effort to be within this experience. If you can take that mindset, then what's important for you to do there is, you could say at the start of the day, look, I'm going to be out from 10 till 10 today. I'm not going to have time. But I could get up at 8 o'clock, I could do a few good bits, and I could get back at 10 and be in bed for 11 having, I don't know, had a shower, read a book, and meditated at night. And that just perpetually provides you with the ability to say that you're improving each day, which is certainly an accolade, a very underrated accolade, I must say. So, with that said, so far where we are is, working a lot is a muscle, and that takes time for you to cultivate that. And also, once you do cultivate it, you'll be remarkably impressed with how much better it is. But it takes time, and fortunately you can break that down into blocks where that time doesn't feel so overwhelming, because you're just doing a small thing each day. That's a very good thing to do. So the long game is the rounding point here of keep going even if it's light, because eventually what once felt like a mountain will become your warm-up set. So I'm going to tie a quote in here from a certain bald-headed, monkey-loving Joe Rogan. Talks about building a mountain with layers of paint, and this refers to consistency. And what it refers to on the behalf of why I've put it here is, if you just keep going and you keep doing things, then you create the ability. I'm going to sound like a bit of a broken record here, so this is just encapsulating, essentially. You will then provide yourself with the ability in strength, or just ability, to do what was once hard for you. So we've got that there. Now, to close out this video, I'm going to say, you don't always need to go hard. There is a real importance in sometimes pushing yourself through something and doing something that you think, fuck me, I didn't think I could do that. That's good. I'm pleased with that. There's a real importance to doing that. But if you go and run a marathon and then you can't run for 4 months, or you don't run for 4 months, is that better than running 5k twice a week for those 4 months? I would wage no. I would say, excuse me, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. I would say that being able to do 5k twice a week is better, and I'd say the maths will probably equate out to something in favour of that. In fact, it will, because it'll be way more than 26 miles. Anyway, point is, you don't have to always go full strength, and that's another sentiment that lies at the feet of the work hard culture. So to round today's video out in a way, I suppose the idea that I've tried to make salient here is, Consistency and hard work are essential items to the life of the happy man, but there's a bit of a stigma or like a cultish mentality in some respects when it comes to those that work hard and those that don't. And it's this sort of... it's the stigma is perpetuated towards those that don't work hard by those that consider themselves as hard workers. And I understand it. I do get it. I've been there. But don't always take that perspective. Make sure that you're grounded in the fact that so long as you're enjoying your life and you're getting you're progressing towards a goal, then you're doing wonderfully well. And that doesn't have to be in the most grand of manners every single time. Do not be a prick when it comes to your work. Find ways to help other people, and in doing so you will grow more than you ever will in any reading session of any book. So, to round that point out, just be kind, and as a result of being kind, gradually, consistency will take you towards being a fucking mensch, which is a good thing for all of us. So, that's applicable for work if you didn't understand the reference or the fucking roundabout stupid stoic point that I was making there. That I'm basically applying this to everything. So, with that being said, this video's done. And Ribena. If I haven't been sponsored by Ribena by the time I get to 75, I'll be pissed. So, see you in a bit. Bitch!